Hello and welcome to our Supporting Asynchronous Learning at Home live stream. Really excited that you can join us today, and hopefully everyone can hear me okay and it's all going to work out just fine. So we've got a few people waiting to watch, so that's brilliant, and we've got some presenters lined up to speak. So if people can just say hello in the chat, introduce yourselves, share your Twitter handle, it'd be great to know that people can hear me and everything's working as it should. So let me start off then by introducing our speakers today. So I'm starting us off with some thoughts about asynchronous learning. We're then getting an input from Heather and Annabel. Heather's a secondary specialist looking at Google Classroom. And then Annabel will be talking to us all about Google Classroom in the primary setting. Then we'll move on to Mark. He's a colleague of mine at Larkwood Academy. Mark's going to be looking at Google Drive. So really excited about the tips that are coming there. Nice to see another Mark Brownrigg has joined us. So pleased to have you watching, Mark. Andrew McJimpsey is another colleague of mine at Larkwood Academy, and he's going to give us some top tips on using Screencastify, which allows you to create videos and little video guides as well online and get them shared out to your learners. Chris Rafferty, he's a teacher of computing science at Trinity High School, and he's got some super top tips on using Google Slides. Richie Lambert, real form expert, Google Forms, so looking at how we can get questions and out to young people and get those answers marked and get good feedback to them, so that will be really exciting. And then last but not least is Mark Allen, who's going to show us some wonderful stuff that we can do in Google Sites. So really excited about all of the presenters today. They're part of our South Lanarkshire Council Google Education Group, which is an informal group of trainers and educators who have all developed their skills in Google for Education G Suite products to try and give our learners the very best experience. So I'm really pleased that we've got everyone along today, and thank you so much for coming and watching. It's really very much appreciated. So I'll start us off then by giving us some asynchronous learning thoughts. And asynchronous learning is where we're letting teachers prepare resources and prepare learning and activities for young people, which can then be accessed at a time that suits them. So not everybody is having to do everything at the same time, and I think there's some real benefits to that in terms of things can be quite disorganized in households at the moment, trying to find routines, and not every household's going to have the same routine. I certainly know we've got 3 children here. It can be a bit muddled at times. So being able to access the learning when it works for us is certainly really, really good. So one of my top tips is about building that personal connection. So I think if you've got the opportunity to be able to create video so that the learners can see you delivering and can kind of talk to you and make that connection, then I think that works really, really nicely. They like to see a friendly face, young people. So your face is a friendly face they had seen a lot of over the school year up until now. So to be able to keep that connection is really important. I think one of the challenges that we're going to face as secondary teachers during this time when we're changing timetables, so our 4th years are becoming 5th years and our 5th years are becoming 6th years, how do we build that personal connection? How do we start to build that relationship? So Andrew McJimpsey is going to show us about Screencastify, but also just getting someone in your house to record a video and then you sharing that via YouTube, maybe as an unlisted video, or putting it into Drive and then onto Google Classroom. They're all options there. I think the shirt and tie in my cartoon graphic here, I think that's optional, but certainly considering what you're wanting to say before you present really helps you have a clear message when speaking to the learners. I certainly know the videos that I've done for my classes have been really well received. Screencastify also have a beta product which is soon to be released that allows learners to record their own videos and hand them into a teacher, and they don't need the extension or anything. So that's really exciting. I don't think Andrew's going to talk about that today, but that's certainly something when it moves from beta to general release, I'll make sure we get him back on the channel to give some more information about. So another one of my top tips is we need to keep giving feedback to learners. So just because we're no longer sat with them or potentially marking their work in terms of the sense of having a jotter or looking at the poster or whatever they've produced, they're still going to be handing work in to us via Google Classroom. So making sure we're making full use of the private comments feature, the class comments feature, the comments bank in Google Docs, or sticking up a little personal announcement to individual pupils. Because remember, you can use the for box to drop down and select to be able to give feedback to particular individuals. So giving that personalized feedback makes a young person feel valued, and it also makes them know that their efforts are being recognized. So sometimes if they've handed a task and everything has been correct, I've just been, that's great work, and then some emojis or something just to make it a bit more fun. Or if it's a bit more extended, then, writing a little note to them, sticking it in the private comments, that works really nicely as well. So I would say keep that feedback going. The learners will be appreciating it, and it will help them make them feel like their efforts at home, their learning at home is being rewarded. So, I think this is just a top tip, whether we were learning at home or teaching in a classroom, making sure that we're chunking the work up, we're scaffolding it. So, children have small activities that they can build upon. I think trying to set everything all at once can be quite overwhelming, can be quite difficult. So if you can help make that a bit easier by slowly building on activities and scaffolding the activities, and that's really going to help. So I know with our first and second years, we're giving them a choice of 5 activities to do over a week, and they build upon each other. We're saying as a bare minimum, we're expecting people to complete 2 of those activities, preferably 3. And then there's some extra work on top of that. So they've got an element of personalization and choice, and they've got a bit of assistance in terms of how it's been split up. And I think that is working really, really nicely. So one of the real challenges is making group work. So when you've got that physical connection, you're in the same room as someone, then it can be really easy to kind of give people team roles and then allow the groups to get on and work. When we're doing group work, well, actually group work can be done asynchronously. So one member of the group can work on something, and then another member of a group can work on something. So when you set tasks in Google Classroom, you can select different individuals. So you can group people and put up different tasks for different groups of individuals. So if you've got a class of 20 children, you could have 5 groups with 4 children in each group, and you can just post tasks to those 4 children. Drop down box, use the 4, tick the names, and then when you share a slide or a doc or a Jamboard, whatever space you're wanting them to work on collaboratively, make sure that all of them have the edit rights to that document. Let them jump in there and let them start working on it. Making use of the comments feature within docs, slides, and the other G Suite products can help you then assign tasks to different members of the group. So let the kind of group working begin. And then once the group start working on activity, they will then learn how to use comments themselves, because you'll have modeled that. And hopefully that will encourage them to work together. So I think that is a really exciting prospect in terms of us doing asynchronous group work. And that's going to be a real challenge. But I think it's something we need to try and do, because, we could be another 8 weeks till the summer holidays. And I think, to be isolated and having no opportunity for group work in the next 8 weeks would be really quite sad. I have no information though about when lockdown will or won't be lifted, so that that's pure speculation there. And then finally, don't forget we can still define what success looks like. So success criteria becomes more important than ever, because the young people who are working at home, they are going to need to know how they can measure their success and know whether they have done what they're supposed to do. So one of the features that is continually being refined and made better is Rubrics in Google Classroom. So Rubrics is where you can put up different levels of success, so different kind of differentiated success criteria, and you can mark against each of those levels. And then you can also weight different aspects of the success criteria to award more marks. And then when you type in all your numbers, it will give you a generated grade out of 100 or whatever you set it to be. So I think that's a really nice tool to be using. And I think quite often we've got success criteria already written, so it'll just be a case of tweaking them and sharing them maybe in a different way to the way we normally would, so that they can be accessed for learning at home. So I'm sure all the things that you are doing are helping your learners at home. And I'm not saying you need to rush out and do all of the kind of ideas I've just suggested there, but it's just about making small steps, trying to introduce something new each week so that our repertoire gets bigger and the experience that learners get at home is as good as it possibly can be. So one of the tools that we are using is Google Classroom. So up first to talk to us about Google Classroom is Heather. Hi Heather, how are you?
Hi there, how are you? I'm doing good, thanks. You?
Fantastic, yeah, really, really well this morning. So I think you're going to share us some bits about Google Classroom this morning. So I'll be able to bring your screen in, and hopefully you'll be able to share some of your top tips.
Brilliant. I've got a list. I've got my list of what I'm going to go through.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to talk you through Google Classroom and how I've applied it within a secondary setting. My background, I'm a music teacher at Calder Glen, and I've utilised Google Classroom for at least the last 4 years in my teaching practice, and it's been an absolutely amazing resource in order to post assignments or materials or just generally collate information from pupils. It's kind of become my paperless classroom. I'm not having to have lots of different bits of papers and having to collate everything. It's nice to have everything in one place. So if Lanarkshire uses Glow in order to find Google Classroom, if I open up here, I can show you all of my classes that have previously been set up. Might take a wee second or two, and what I'm going to do is show you how to add your own classroom to your own stream, if this will load. Be great. If not, I'll show you one that I've already done until this does. Here we go. So my Google Classroom stream is pretty busy at the moment with all the new classes that have been set up for 2020 and 2021. But this, when you first start out with Google Classroom, will be completely blank. And in order to create your class, if you go up to the top right-hand corner, click Create or Join Class. You can join class using the different types of codes that are available, or you can create a class by clicking the Create Class button. This here will give you information about how to set up your classes. You can give the different information boxes if you wish. The only one that is required is the class name box, which you can name something appropriate. It does take a little while, depending on your internet connection, about how long it does take to set up your Google Classroom. So for the purposes of this, I have already set up a tutorial page, which is where I'm going to talk through everything. Once your class is set up, this is the page that will be shown to you. The main page that will always be shown when you open your Google Classroom is the Stream tab. In the stream tab here, you can communicate with your classes, as it says. You can create and schedule announcements. So for example, if I was typing in my class, hi everyone, hope you are well. I will be posting materials for you to complete on a weekly basis. And once I post this, it will then end up in my stream for everybody to see. My class can then add comments to say, yes, hi miss, I'm well, what tasks are we going to complete, etc. And they will list down the bottom. You can also, for example, if you want to be organised, schedule your posts. So for example, I can now say week 1, complete the homework tasks and read pages 3 to 4 of the booklet. And what I can do is, with the wee arrows, I can schedule this post, and I can select a date and a time in which to schedule it, and it will automatically post. So if you do want to be super organised, you can kind of sort your class out for the next week and have your posts schedule. And you can obviously add different links for Google Drive and things if you wanted them to say, this is the link you want to go to. I'm going to skip the Classwork tab just for 2 wee seconds and hop to the People tab. In the People tab, this is where you can add co-teachers to your class or add students. The easiest way to do this is just click on the little icon in the top right-hand corner, and you can type in different people's names, or you can type in their username or email. So for example, I want to add Mrs. Lawkins as a student. So I can type in her Glow username and password. And then I can select from the list below about which one I'd like her to join. If you do accidentally make a mistake with adding pupils, you can just click on the name and then click the little X and they'll delete. You can then click invite and then they will list down the bottom. Pupils and teachers will both have to accept the invite in order to be part of your class. I'm going to quickly talk about the Classwork tab, and this is where the kind of real nitty-gritty part of teaching, learning, assessment kind of comes into play. You can add a selection of different types of topics. You can add assignments, quizzes, questions, materials. You can even reuse posts from previous, and you can add topics. The topics is a really handy way to organise your Google Classroom. I'll show you an example of what I've done. So music is in different parts. There's different units of the courses, for example, performance, listening, composition, or with music technology, there's a skills unit, a project unit, and a listening unit. If I very quickly show you one of my other classes that's already been done, I've separated these into listening activities, online learning 2020, projects, skills, and homework. And it's just a really easy way to organise your stream and just make it look generally tidy. I've obviously added some emojis from my phone in order just to make it look a bit nicer and a bit more appealing for some of the pupils. So being able to add different types of topics is a really handy way to make sure that things are kind of nice and organised. One thing I'm going to show you how to do, and it's a lot of questions that I've had from some of my colleagues, is how to add different types of assessments, especially when they're not, for example, editable for pupils. So if I click on create assignment, what I can do at the top is, for example, create a blues worksheet. In here, I can provide instructions. They're not very detailed, but you can obviously say complete tasks or questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 using sentences. You can give them more detailed instructions. And what I'm now going to do is add the document which I want them to complete. By clicking add, I now have the option of finding out where the task is. All my things are saved to Google Drive, which is where I'm now going to find that document. So I've asked for them for the Blues worksheet, and my Blues worksheet is under recent. If not, it's under my Google Drive, it's under tutorial materials and my Blues worksheet. If you do note though, however, this is a PDF document. That PDF document will only allow pupils to read the document. It won't allow them to do anything else. It will not allow them to edit. But what they can do is open up with Google Docs if they wish. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to leave it as that document. What I want pupils to do is view the file, nothing else. I don't want them to edit it. And what I'm now going to do is add a document in which they can add their answers. By clicking add create, I can now assign them a Google Doc, kind of like a blank bit of paper at school saying, this is the copy, don't write on this. And this document is where I want you to put your answers. So I might put in here, Blues worksheet answers. And I can add things in here for them. For example, question 1 and space for their question, question 2, question 3, etc., etc. And I can ask them to complete their answers in here. What I would want them to do though is that this version here is I can now give them editing rights. So this one here, students can view the file, means they won't be able to do anything with it. If they edit the file, it means that everybody will edit the same document, which is not what I want. But the last one here, where I want every student to have a copy of this doc that they can then create their answers on. So I'm going to make a copy for each student. The last part of the assignment up the top here is making sure that I have selected the correct class in which I want it to be posted to. So I can actually, because I've got lots of Google Classrooms, I can say that I'd like it posted to the tutorials, but I would also like it posted to S1 Music, and the same post will go there. So it's quite handy, especially if you've got duplicate materials. And as Ian said earlier, what I can do is I can actually select which students I'd like to do this task. So if I was to do group work, for example, I could have 5 people doing a blues worksheet, whereas 5 people doing a reggae worksheet, 5 people doing an Indian music worksheet, and I could have that group kind of task set up. I can assign points whether I want it out of, if it's only out of 5 marks, only 5 questions, so if it's out of 5, I can then set a due date. When would I like this completed by? So I'll give them a week. And again, like I said before, I can add a topic. So I might put this under blues music, so that I know that if I was to assign another blues task, then that would all be nicely kind of packaged together. I can then go up to assign, and this will now post as an assignment into my Google Classroom for all pupils to be able to see. And this is where I can then add marks and comments back to everybody else. So my blues music worksheet now appears under the Classwork tab, under my lovely topic of blues music, and my blues worksheet for them to complete. Obviously, there's no pupils in my class at present. So what I can do, once they are there, it will tell me that 6 people have handed it in, but there's 10 people in my class, so 4 have been assigned it. If I click view assignment, I can then see pupils' work, which will appear down this side here, which I can add comments to, and then I can obviously see the work documentation in which they have created. This is a really handy kind of way in order for me to gain materials. What I'll do is I'll really quickly show you just before I finish a classroom that has work created and comments that I've given back. So you can see just that how it's worked with some of my classes. So if I go back to my 3rd year technology class, for example, there is an assignment that I've set. 1 person's handed it in, so I've still to mark this one. 6 people have been assigned it, which means they haven't completed, and 7 people have been marked. And that's how it would view in your Google Classroom once people have created and added their work to there.
Excellent, Heather. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. A real great kind of introductory talk to the kind of different elements of Google Classroom. So thank you so much for that. Annabel Rodger is joining us. Hi, Annabel. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Excellent. Richie X had said, Heather, he was very intrigued by the Nearpod assignments that you put up. So he's going to quiz you about that later. So that's brilliant. So thank you very much. I'll drop you out the stream, and Annabel, I'll bring in your screen. And if you're ready, I'll let you just get underway.
Great. Okay, so this morning I'm going to show you how I'm using Google Classroom with a primary class. I've been using Google Classroom really this session, so since August, and the way that I've used it has had to change quite a lot due to school closures. So class just to show you how I'm organizing my class now. So as you can see, Heather was talking about the stream, which is where you come in. And the first thing I decided to do when we went to school closure was to tidy things up a bit in my room and make it really simple. We soon discovered that now that all classwork for the class was going through the classroom, it got very busy very quickly. So there's a really handy tip for sorting out your stream. So I've set mine up now so that I only have announcements popping up. Otherwise, every time I post a piece of work, you'd also get that in the stream. And if you're posting, say, 8-10 pieces of work on a Monday morning for the week, that can get very busy. So if you go up to the cog here, it gives you all your options and you can go in and choose how you want the stream to work. Now, for primary, I find the best thing to do with the stream is to set it up so that students can't post, they can't start a discussion, but they can comment, they can join in and put something up. Sometimes I ask them a question like, what did you have for lunch yesterday? Just to get a bit of interaction started. Or I might have a little post and say, here's a little link to something I want you to have a look at, a news item for today, and then come back and put your comments on it underneath. So if I've set that up for students can comment, that means they can do that. But this one here is really helpful, classwork in the stream. Now, if I leave it with notifications on, every time I put up a piece of work, it pops up in the stream. But I don't want to do that. I want to hide notifications. Okay, so I'll show you what my class have to do. They come in and they see that I put an announcement up on a Monday morning, and I always use an activity grid at the moment. It's a bit like a homework grid, and that just shows them what they're up to for the week, gives them all the instructions, but it doesn't give them too much detail. It's just a brief overview. Okay, so you can see here that I've given them some instructions about what they need to do for the week. And I'm just asking them to schedule themselves. And then I've got a little activity grid. And all that I've done to it is I've added some emoji stars just to highlight the kind of key literacy and numeracy tasks. And that helps them keep on track with what they need to do for the week. And then they've got a choice of what else they want to do. Okay, so I have that as an announcement in here, and that just allows me to point that out to them. And the handy thing with making it a doc is that I can then go in and check who has had a look at it. So this little broken arrow up in the corner gives a view history, and that means I can see everyone who's had a look. Now, this is just my demo one, so it doesn't show anything, but usually on a Monday, most people come and check it out, and then I can check that at least people have checked in on a Monday and had a look at what I've asked them to do. Okay, so that's the activity grid. And then to go and do classwork, they need to go into the classwork page. Now, there is also the upcoming list, so they could click here and it would just show them what they've got coming up for the week and what they haven't completed. But if they go into Classroom, I've organised mine a little differently from Heather's. I find being a primary teacher, because we're covering the whole curriculum, that trying to organise by curricular areas or trying to organise by the kind of activities we're doing got very, very busy as soon as we went into school closure. So I have changed it. I now have a topic called Activity Grid, and all my activity grids go in here and they can see by date which one they're looking at. And then I organise everything for the week by the date of that week. And you can see that I've kept the stars going on here so they can see what they need to do. And that's really helped, especially in terms of now that the children are working from home and there's a much greater degree of parental involvement in what they're doing. And for parents, that's been a lot easier as well. So in terms of the kind of activities that I'm providing, like Ian was saying, it's really important to provide collaboration opportunities. And my class have just started using Jamboard. So if we have a look at the reading group task, I've set them to read a chapter, then they have to think about what they would have done if they were the character in the story. And then they're going to use a sticky note. So I've opened up my Jamboard here. And Jamboard is one of the Google Suite apps, and it's really handy for thinking together. It has whiteboard abilities, and it also works just like a big sheet of paper. And in my class, we quite often do sticky note activities, and they've really enjoyed getting to use this. So they just click on the sticky note, they type in their ideas, click save, and it creates a little sticky note. And this sticky note can be moved around, they can be grouped, they can write comments on each other's, and they can change them or delete them. And I find that's a really great way for them to collaborate really quickly. So that's sticky notes in Jamboard. I've also set up quizzes. I've started doing quite a lot of the mental maths elements by quizzes, and these are really handy for me because I can set them up to be self-marking and to give immediate feedback, which is a fantastic thing with forms. They just get in and it gives them a link like this. They put in their name. I put up on this one, watch a little video to remind you about how to weigh things. Then they go through the questions, and once they finish the questions, it gives me all the data, and I can analyze it by question, I can analyze it by recipient, and it helps me to identify any issues that my class have got. It would flag up any questions that lots of them are having problems with, and it also lets me do a little bit of reviewing of questions. Sometimes if you type in an answer without a decimal point, for instance, then it wouldn't mark it as correct. So I can go back and just give individuals feedback from there. That's been really great for my class. So that's forms. The other two things I wanted to have a look at today, I've got, like Heather was saying, it's quite often you will have a PDF resource. And what I've been doing for my pupils is I've been turning them into an interactive resource by making it into a Google slide. So if I show you on here, this is my writing task. The children have got a grammar activity, and they've also got a spelling activity and a comprehension activity, but they're all interactive. And the challenge was to make this an interactive worksheet. So it's actually quite simple. If I take the PDF and make it into an image and then set it as the background, I can then lay on top of it interactive items like these circles. And that means the children can use it like a worksheet in the classroom, and they can complete it here in the slides, and then it comes back to me. And I've got this one set up so that it makes them their own copy of the slides. So I will get 24 copies back, each with the child's name, and I can go through those and review them. That's been fantastic. So that's using a PDF to make an interactive worksheet really quickly. For my class novel, I have been using Screencastify, which is going to be discussed later, and that's been a brilliant tool. That allows me to make little simple videos and post them in the classroom. So they get a chapter each time, and then I've set up a Google slide. I've found I'm using slides more and more for primary. It's really much easier for the children. And this one is about creating a visualization, so they can either upload a picture of a drawing they've done offline, or they could go in and create pictures within the slides. It's up to them. And then they just need to send it back to me and I can have a look at that. That's been great. And the last thing I want to show you before I round up, we've been creating pupil portfolios by getting the children to create their own Google sites. So I made a Screencastify video, which has all the instructions in it. And then I typed out the steps, and then I've created a Google site, which they duplicate, and it's their online learning portfolio. So week by week, they can add to it. They've got a little space for reflection on each page, and they've also got pictures that they can add, which would be from their own resources. And that's been a really good way for the children to document the work that they're doing at home. So I think that's everything that I was going to quickly round up today. But overall, I would say that Classroom's been really simple, straightforward, and it's adapted really well to school closure. I'd really recommend it as a tool, and I've really enjoyed using all the Google tools.
Thanks very much, Annabel. That was really, really good.
Okay.
I particularly like the tip at the start when you were talking about simplifying the stream and going into the settings there. I think that's really nice. And Alex Stark, who's joined us, he said he's really liked seeing the interactive aspects that you've been using of Google Classroom. And, I think he's absolutely right. It is really important at this time. So, you're certainly doing lots and lots of that. So thank you very much for sharing. So all of the stuff that you've been using has been using Google Drive. And we've got Mark along with us today as well. So Mark's going to talk us all about Google Drive. So thank you very much, Annabel. We'll hopefully see you again soon. Hello, Mark.
Morning, Ian.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Right, I'll share your screen then if you're ready, and you can give us some great tips about Drive.
Yeah, excellent, thank you.
Okay, you're on.
Excellent. So what we're going to look at is how we use Google Drive. So Google Drive is your own personal cloud storage area. Everything you create or edit in a G Suite is found here. So for example, as they've said before in Google Classroom, you've created your own Classroom folder. So we're going to touch on that later. So My Drive is where all your files are stored, which is located on the left-hand side. Below that, we have Shared with Me. That's where any staff has shared any files with you. It just sits there until you give it a home. So as you can see, there's lots of stuff stored until you give it a home. A top tip I like to use is the starred option. This is where important files can be stored for easy access later on. So if I go into my Nat 5 woodwork folder I've done just now, I will right click on the glossary, and then as you can see, we can add to starred. So if I want to find access later on, we can do it in here. Usually I put the marking schemes and any crucial information I need to do, I'll put it in my starred drive for easy access. What I like to do is I have a fascination of keeping my drive organized. So I color code everything I do. As you can see, I've got green for classroom, I've got red for my home learning, but down the bottom I have my woodwork as a blue folder. If I open that up, I've color coded every unit within that. So if we look at materials, I have the exercises color coded as well so that I know where everything is located. So kind of looking at My Drive, you can have different properties and privacy settings, whether you've got ownership of it or whether you're shared with someone else. If the folder is a solid color, for example, Classroom, Google Trainer, Watercolor Academy, they're solid colors and only you can see that. Whereas if I look at the Design Technology Home Learning, that is a small person in it. That means I have shared that folder with other people. So it's a way of sharing information. Also, how you upload information is quite easy within a drive. We go up to New, we can upload a folder, we can create a folder, we can upload a file from your My Documents on your computer, or we can upload the folder. Under that, we have Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, where we can create a new file within that. If you have created a file in a Microsoft Word or something like that, and you want to upload it to Google Drive and make it more editable, we can simply go into the Settings cog. We'll go to Settings, and then click Convert Uploads. So anything you have in Microsoft will be automatically converted into a Google Docs format, so we can actually use that in Google Classroom, and it's an editable format. We can toggle between list and grid. So I have list on now. If we go up here, we can change to grid view. So that's the difference we have. As you can see at the top here, we have the eye, which is for more detail. Quite a useful tip. If you're unsure where your last edited document is, I'll click on the folder. I'll go up and click on the eye for more detail. We have the details of the folder. So who created it, when was it created, any description you wish to do, but also its location. Looking at the activity folder, it's telling you what you have edited and when. So if you're thinking, I can't remember where I put the 2016 folder, just click on it and it will locate it right in your main screen for you. As you can see, I've put it in my deleted items, so it's telling me if I want to restore it or not. So I'll click cancel now. The bin is where anything you have you deleted, it's always there, it will not empty. The good thing about my drive is you have a vast space for storing anything. As you can see here, we have priority, so that's like my to-do list. Anything I have, I'll pop into my priority, and that's where I will complete it for the week ahead. So shared drives is a way of sharing a folder with other colleagues. This is where the folder is everyone's privacy. So anyone, if you leave it or you leave a school, you do not take the ownership away from it. Everyone in that folder has ownership. So for example, to create a folder, we'll go up to new, give it a title, for example, tutorial. And then simple thing we can do here, one person's got it just now, add members, and that's where you can add your colleagues. Easiest one, I think, would be to just go GW19. And as you can see, everyone's there, so you can find to it as you want. If you're unsure of it, there's one there, so I can select sl.glow and then change the member's category later on. He's a content manager, which is one of your settings. So a manager can manage content, members, and settings. Content manager can add, edit, move, and delete. Contributor can only add or edit files, and commentator can comment on them, or a viewer. So I'll stick Ian with a content manager and then send that. And then he will get a notification to join a group. So both myself and Ian will be owners of that shared drive, and we can add any material to it. So Google Drive for me is the place where I like to store everything. It's easy access, but at the same time, if we lay it out the way you want to, then that's how we can then find easy access of our materials.
Great, thank you very much, Mark. That's a really brilliant kind of introduction to Google Drive. I know Google for Education have more on Google Drive this afternoon, so I've just put the YouTube link up there on the screen. So they've got a kind of 1 hour tutorial session there, and you've given us a super short introduction. And I think making use of the priority spaces, as you say, and setting up the drive so it works for you is something that's really, really important to help make the space work for you. So some great tips there. Thank you very much. So fortunately enough, we've also got Mr. McJimpsey. So goodbye to you, Mark, from one Mark to another. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic.
So I will bring your screen in, Andrew, and I believe you're going to be talking to us today about Screencastify and making some videos to support learning at home.
Yes, that's great. So I'm going to be showcasing to you Screencastify today. Now, what is Screencastify? Well, Screencastify is a web extension to Google Chrome that allows you to easily record, edit, and share videos with your pupils. I myself have found this to be absolutely fantastic during this period of home learning, as it allows me to record exactly what is on my screen. For example, a Google Slides, a Google Sheets, and I can then embed my microphone and webcam in order to create an online virtual lesson for my pupils that I can then share via a link on YouTube or Google Classroom. So what I'm going to be showcasing for you today is just kind of a getting started tutorial with Screencastify, how to actually add it as an extension to Google Chrome, and I will be showing you some of the tips that I've found quite useful when using Screencastify. So it's important to kind of note just now that I am currently using the full version of Screencastify. Screencastify have been absolutely brilliant during this period of home learning. And they've given access to all educators with a free voucher and coupon to actually access all features of Screencastify, which then allows you to use different create longer videos. If you have the free version, you can only create videos up to 5 minutes, but if you have the full version, you can create longer videos and you can actually edit your videos as well. So I think Ian's going to post the code at the end of the video for you, so that you can have access to the full version as well. And if you just go to the My Account section here, you'll be able to put in your code in here. Also for Screencastify, just before we get started, you can access quite a few of the courses here. These courses give an in-depth understanding of how to use Screencastify, which I think is very valuable if you would actually want to look more into Screencastify. So let's get started with adding Screencastify to our Google Chrome browser. So you need to be on Google Chrome to start with. And then once I'm on the home page here for Screencastify, I'm going to click on Add to Chrome. So it's as easy as that. Then I'm going to click on Add to Chrome and then add the extension there. Then it should pop up at the right-hand side here. Just takes a wee second. Then it's popped up here at the right-hand side. Now, in order to actually set up Screencastify, we need to click on the screen recorder here. So I'm going to click on that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up Screencastify. So I'm going to sign in with my Google account here. And then I'm going to click Next, Allow. And then we're ready to create our first video. So I'm going to show you just a basic kind of untitled Google Slides just now. So I'm going to show how to actually record a video for you. So we need to go back over to this video recorder here, and we're going to click on that, and then you'll see that this kind of window pops up here. Now, this is all you need to actually create any video that you're going to be using in Screencastify. And you'll see you have 3 sections here. So browser tab, that'll just record one browser tab that you've got open. And I think that would be very good to use if you say you had a Google document open in another tab that you were using as notes, and you just wanted one screen to actually be recorded, one tab just to be recorded, sorry, then you could actually go through your other tabs and look at notes and stuff like that as well, which I think would be quite good. I've not used that one specifically just yet. Webcam only, that's only going to just showcase your webcam, okay, yourself via the webcam. So I've not used that one. I've directly as well. The one that I've been using the most is the desktop. Now, this desktop will be showcasing my full screen, which I think has been the best resource for me to actually use when I've been creating lessons. And you have got the ability to obviously embed your microphone and embed your webcam here. So I'm going to embed my microphone here. Make sure that you're selecting the appropriate microphone, because I've got an integrated microphone, so I need to make sure I'm selecting the correct one. Now, you do have the option to actually embed your webcam or not. If you don't feel comfortable being showcased on the webcam, you don't need to do it. But I feel confident enough, so I'm going to embed my webcam here. So once that I've actually got this all set up, I'm just going to simply press record. Now, once I've pressed record, I'm going to click here on my entire screen, and I'm going to share my screen here, and then you'll see a countdown starting. Once that countdown actually starts and goes down to 0, that is you starting to record your video. So currently we are recording. It shows you at the top here that we are recording here. It's got the wee recording symbol, and once we have finished our video, what we can do here is we can click stop sharing, or we can go back up to here and we can click the big stop button here. Now, there's a couple of good features that you can do here as well. You can actually pause your video. I think this is a very good tool, especially if you actually make a mistake in the video. You can actually pause your video, compose yourself, get back into actually creating the video again, and then once you feel confident enough with using Screencastify, you can actually start editing your videos. So I've been using the pause feature because I make a lot of mistakes all the time when I'm doing it, because it's very, very hard to actually record yourself. I've got an admirable respect for YouTubers now, because I think they're absolutely fantastic. It's very hard to do. But you can pause the video, and then that will be able to pause the video, and then you can actually start your video again when you feel comfortable, and then you can edit the part out that you didn't want. This button here basically just restarts the full process again of your video and restarts it from the start. But I'm quite happy with the video, so I'm going to press stop here. And then here you'll see at the top right hand corner, it's rendering the video, and it's going to be saving to your drive. Now, if you're happy with that, you can actually go to your share to Classroom, or you can go to publish to YouTube. I'm not happy with this video, so I'm going to open this in Editor, and I'm going to edit some of it out. So this is how you can actually edit your videos. Now, editing your videos has never actually been easier, I would say. So you've got the options here to actually cut, crop, and add text. So adding text, basically you can just type something on your actual screen here if you want to add to that. You can also crop certain aspects of the video if you would like. You can also cut the video, which I'm going to do. So say that I wanted this part of the video here cut, I would just click on the part that I want to cut, and it would cut to the next part. So then I could press cut, and then if I'm not happy with that, I could then press delete. Now, say that I had created another video and I wanted to add to, say, another part of this video to this, I could then go to add clip, and then I could go to add from my Google Drive, and then I could go to my Screencastify folder, and then I've got some previous video lessons here. I'm going to click on one of these, select it, and I'm going to process it. Then it will process that video, and then it will add to my video. So as we can see here, once I press play, it will go on to the next part of the video. Now, that's it edited together. Once I'm happy with my actual edit, I can then click save to my Google Drive, and then I can name the video. So I'm going to name that video 1, and I'm going to save it, and then it's going to be actually processing the video. Now, once that has actually been rendered, you will then be able to share that via Google Classroom or YouTube. Now, some of the pupils that I've actually had in my classroom have struggled to actually access the link via Screencastify. So what I usually do is post Screencastify link for all pupils, and I make sure that I'm posting a YouTube link as well for all pupils, so that everybody's got access to it, and I'm including everybody so that everybody has access to the video. Obviously, this is taking a while to actually process because of the length of the video. So the longer the video actually is, the longer it will take to process. Hopefully it just comes up very quickly here. And then once you're ready with it, you can actually view it. I would always make sure that you go through it, your video, from start to finish, look and see if you're happy with it. And once you're ready, you can click here, share to Classroom, and then a kind of a little window will come up here with all your classrooms here, and you can just post it, whether you want to schedule it, post it as a material or whatever. So that's just a kind of quick introduction into Google Classroom, and I hope that's been helpful for you.
Andrew, that has been absolutely fantastic, a real whistle-stop tour. And I know we've already got you booked in to make some tutorial videos to go on the South Lanarkshire Council Staff Learning Centre about Screencastify. So really looking forward to them going live. You've mentioned that there was a premium features code available, so I've just popped that up on the screen now. It's cast_COVID, so people can make use of that to get the features that you were demonstrating there. And I guess now is a great time to be recording the videos, and you'll be able to use them for years to come. Yep. So we're going to say thank you very much, Andrew, and I'm going to drop you out the stream and bring in Chris Rafferty, who's going to talk to us about Google Slides. Hi, Chris, how are you?
Hi, Ian, I'm good.
Fantastic. So I'll bring your screen in then when we're ready, and looking forward to hearing all about Google Slides.
Excellent. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this tutorial on Google Slides. Google Slides is something that I use every day. Generally, you'll use it for presenting as an aid to a presentation, or sometimes you may use it to assess people understanding by getting them to put a kind of presentation together. Or if you're a bit more ambitious, then you may consider trying to recreate a kind of virtual classroom like this.
I'm still in on the feed, actually. Your screen hasn't come through just yet, so. Excellent. We've got your screen in now. That's fantastic. It's all yours.
So what you may want to consider is creating a kind of virtual learning environment like this. So I've basically got a slide with lots of different media attached to it, and that is a really powerful tool. So I've got a little video here. Hi everyone, Mr. Rafferty here. So I can send my class a message, let them know what I've been up to, give them some instructions. I've got an option where they can check in. It's almost like being registered to tell me how they're feeling. And Richie's going to show you a little bit more about forms later on. They can access this week's lesson, which is a link to a Google Classroom post. They can, I've got some extension activities here. So this is a link to Google's CS First Computer Science program. There's links to the school Twitter and website, so they can find out what's going on. And I've got some other little things, like we've got a brain teaser, which is a little crack the code exercise. I've got Legend of the Week, which this week is Alan Turing, with a little video about Alan. Here. So basically the classroom kind of recreated in slides. So what kind of underpins this is the ability to be able to link pictures, and that's all this is. When I hover over a particular picture, it allows me to link to pretty much anything that I have a web address for. So that can be an external website, it can be a Google Classroom post, it can be something that's stored in your Google Drive. So let me show you how to do that. So to start a new presentation, I'm going to do slides.new, and that creates a new presentation. I'm going to choose a theme for this demo. Let's do a presentation on Scotland by me. Now, to insert an image, really simple. I just go to the little image icon up the top here, and I've got the option here. I can either upload an image from my computer, but this really clever tool allows me to search the web for copyright-free images without leaving slides. So I'm going to search for a picture of Scotland, and this loch picture looks nice. Insert. Now, down the bottom here, we have this little Explore tool. This Explore tool is going to make you look like a boss when it comes to slides, because when I hit Explore, I can select lots of beautiful layouts that have already been done and edited for me. Makes it look really professional. We're going to come back to the Explore tool in a little second. I'm going to add a new slide in with this little drop-down arrow, and I'm going to select title only. Let's do a slide about the flag of Scotland. And again, I'm going to go to image, search the web. Oh, that's handy. Saltire right there. And I'm just going to minimize that down a little bit. I'm going to add in a text box, and I'm going to use the Explore tool again. So text box, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for information about the Saltire. And again, I don't need to leave, I can just search, and then I've got a bunch of web pages about the Saltire. So I'm going to open up Wikipedia, and I'm going to copy and paste this. Obviously, if this was in the class, then you would want your pupils to put it in their own words. So I'm going to paste that in there. And I am going to just increase that text size a little bit. Cool. So that example I showed you of the virtual classroom had lots of images linked to other stuff. So I'm going to select my image. Now, let me link the Wikipedia page. So I'm just going to copy that URL there. And I am going to go up to the little link here and paste it in and hit apply. I can also link text. So let me just select this text here and press the little link again and apply. So now when I present this, if I click this, it'll go to that page. And if I click the actual flag itself, then it goes to the page as well. So that's really how that whole page was made up, by just multiple links. And like I say, you can get a shareable link for your Google from your Google Drive as well for anything that you've got stored there, images, audio, etc. Next thing I'm going to show you is how to easily put a video in. So I'm just going to select a blank slide this time, and I'm going to insert from the insert menu, video. Now, again, I can search for YouTube vids without even leaving here. So let me search for a video about Scotland. And I'll just select the first video, looks good. And straight away, I've got a YouTube video embedded there with minimal effort. And I can play around with the settings. I can autoplay it, so when I get to this slide, it will play automatically. It can also mute the audio, which can be unmuted as well. The last thing I want to show you on kind of media and links is I can also link to other slides. Now, that's what I used for the merits and for the little brain teaser. These were links to other slides, essentially, so you can see I've got my slide there, and then these are other slides within the same presentation. I'll show you how I did that. I'll do it using a bit of text. Go back to start. So again, I'm just highlighting the text, or it could be a picture like it is in the virtual class. And then select the link option again. Now you can see that it's got an option here for slides in this presentation. And that basically gives me access to all the slides in the presentation. So I'm going to choose slide 1 and apply. And then when I present this slide, I can obviously play my video. But I've also got this go back to the start option here, which takes me back to the original slide. Okay, so that's kind of links and embedding media. The last thing I want to talk to you, and you've probably heard a lot of chat today about collaboration, and all the Google products are amazing for this, because if I wanted to create something like this, then it gives me the option that me and my colleagues can create it together. Now, the way that we do this is by pressing the share button up here and adding in the names of, so any of my colleagues that I want to edit it together with, I can do that. Or it could be that you set an assignment to your students that you want them to do together. And you can give people different access privileges. So if you want something that the pupils can only view, set it to can view. If you want everybody to be able to edit it, select can edit. And that way, everyone collaborates on a project together. In fact, up to 50 people can collaborate on a project at the same time. During the collaboration process as well, you can comment on different things each other have done. So I can just select an item on my presentation and hit the little plus there and say this looks great. Or you can suggest maybe an amendment, something else that might look good. And finally, probably one of the biggest concerns about using a cloud-based product like this is about people deleting stuff. Because as you can see, while I've been doing this, any changes I make, it's saying saving up the top there. So what happens if someone amends something and overwrites something? Well, if you hit all changes, look at all changes, then I can go in and I can see all the previous versions, I can see who's edited. So it's only myself that's edited this presentation, but if someone else was involved in it, then they would come up as a different colour and I could see on the presentation what they had edited. So I can go back to previous versions. But more importantly, if someone does change something, there's no need to do the work again. You can go back and restore that previous version and start from the place where you left off.
Yeah, that's a super handy feature, Chris.
Yes. And that's everything. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments.
That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Richie Hewitt shared with us that he thought the virtual classroom was looking really smart, and I absolutely agree with him. I think that looks super engaging, and as a learner accessing that, you're going to go, okay, there's something exciting to do here, something interesting to look at. So that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm going to now bring Richie Lambert into our screen. Hi, Richie. How you doing? See you later, Chris. Thank you so much. So, Richie, you're joining us, and it's all about Google Forms then.
Yeah, that's the one. I've been using it an awful lot the last few weeks, so hopefully quite well versed.
Fantastic. Well, I'm bringing your screen in now, and the stage is all yours. Thanks very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian. So, as I say, I was using Forms quite a bit before the lockdown, but now the last few months, they've just been absolutely perfect for the situation that we find ourselves in. I heard them described as a sort of Swiss Army tools of assignments because there's Swiss Army knife, because there's lots of potential options as far as types of questions or the layouts that you can pick, different themes. You can add in videos, you can add in images, all sorts of things to make it more engaging, to make it more interesting. And it doesn't have to be just straightforward multiple choice quizzes all the time. We should be looking into what potential options you could have to adapt to make different types of questions just to keep pupils engaged. But there's a few issues that I've noticed have cropped up, particularly as an aspect of distance learning I wanted to go through. I'm going to focus to start on the difference between automatically marked forms and manually marked forms. So I've got a very, very simple form set up here. Our first question, what's the capital of France? And in our answer key here, we can click Paris. Now that's a definite, absolutely is the right answer. They can't select anything other than a right or wrong answer in that case. But this one's a wee bit more specific. So how do plants convert light to food? The answer for anyone that doesn't know is photosynthesis. But I'm not certain that's what pupils would always put in. So we have a wee preview up here, so you can look and see what the form will look like for pupils. And we can see in there just those two basic questions. Let's go for Paris, and let's go for photosynthesis. So there we go. And then people would submit that as their form there. And in this setup, they can view their score and their answers immediately. Now, look at my results. Right away, I can see something's went all right because I thought I'd answered correctly. I've only got 1 out of the 2 marks. Got Paris. I gave the right answer, but it hasn't given me the mark in that case. Now, that's not a mistake. Well, it is, but it's something that we can fix quite easily. So if you go back to the original form, click on responses. There are lots of information in there in responses. It's worth a dig through. We're going to focus in on question. So see this first one, what's the capital of France? It's either right or it's wrong. Nice and straightforward. That can be automatically marked. This one here, how do plants convert light to food? Well, that's been marked as correct. But this one hasn't. So the difference there is your answer key is case sensitive. So because it's a small p at the start, it's not picked it up as a correct answer. But you can go through and change that after you've issued the quiz. Okay, so you can go through and look at what pupils give as answers and mark that as correct just by ticking the green box there. Again, that's just a typo. I'd give them that. I wouldn't give them that. That's a disaster. That's not correct. That's nowhere near. And they haven't answered there, so I can mark that as incorrect and then save. Okay, so that will update the scores. We can actually see If we go back to our form here and refresh it, okay, this is what pupils would see if they revisited their form now. It still, unfortunately, has a cross next to it, but they can see that they got the right answer and they got the mark there. So it partially solves that problem. Okay, what will be key if you have an automatic form or a manual form is in the settings here, under quizzes, deciding how you're going to release the marks. So if you've got something that's all multiple choice, then that's absolutely fine. You can release it immediately after their submission. And that means they'll be able to see their score, they can see what the correct answers were. But if you don't want them to see their answers right away because they might be marked as wrong for something that is right, click on later after manual review before you send them out, and then you'll be able to go and check the answers before pupils can get access to them. So if we click on there, click on save, we'll go click in and check and see that all of our answers are correct and we're happy with them. And then once all the pupils have filled in their details, back to individual, and you can release the score. So that'll send out an email to them with their score. And you can see all the same people here, but that would allow you to send it out to individual pupils. Now, if they want to go back into the form now, after you've sent it out, once the assignments are completed, change it back to that. That way they'll be able to go into the form and see all of the marks once again. That's once the assignment's completed. Okay, so it's just to avoid that. You might be getting a lot of messages from pupils saying, I wrote this, I should get the mark, and it just sorts out that problem. Another aspect I was hoping to show you is how to add a password at the start of your forms. Now you might think obviously pupils have to have their emails in place to access the forms anyway, and you've got your privacy settings. What I found a password useful for is sometimes pupils will maybe they just jump straight into a quiz and they haven't read the information first. They're just like, I've been given an assignment, I'm going to do this in 3 minutes flat, and I'm not going to do the preparatory work first. This way you can put a password either in the instructions or in your Google Slides or in your Google Docs, and that way you know that they've had to go in and read to find that password. It's dead easy to do. So at the top of our form, we'll add a question. What is the password? And today's password, what we go for, we'll go for sandwiches. That's case sensitive again. And click done. Now down here, if we click on these 3 dots, we've got response validation. So lots that you can do with that, but we'll just keep it simple on password for today. And it means their answer has to have this element in it somewhere. So their answer has to have sandwiches in it. If they don't put that answer, we can leave a wee message for them, incorrect, try again. And then last but not least, click required. Now, to make it so that they can't access the rest of the quiz, we need to add a section. Put a wee title on that second section. And these are 2 separate parts to your form. So let's see what that looks like for pupils. Okay, what's the password? If they put in Sandy, for example, that's not right. But if they put in sandwiches, must be lunchtime, and then they can access the quiz that way. So it just gives you an extra step for them to go through to make sure they check their work. One last thing, if you're going to be doing all these forms, you want to make sure you have all that information in place and lots of detail and have it organised. So when you're setting up your assignments, if it's a quiz, I'll go into this demonstration one and we edit here. Clicking this button, grade importing, will make sure that it automatically sends you the marks that they've got for the quiz. Okay, if you add anything else to your assignment, another document, another link, another file, it won't allow you to do that. So you can only have one form attached if you want to do this grade importing. Save that and show you how to get the grades over once the pupils have completed the assignment. So you go into view assignment, This is all within Google Classroom, I should say. And you would click import grades and then all down there. It will give the details of the marks. And then last but not least, that means for every assignment you do, you're going to have the details of the marks just automatically firing in there. So I hope that's a few tips that would help with this distance learning forms.
Brilliant, Richie. Thank you so much for that. I think Karen, who's viewing, has commented that the password feature to forms is really cool. And yeah, I'd absolutely agree. I think that's a really nice way of kind of building in a bit of challenge. So you can always set the kind of passwords up so they can be answers to questions and they can't move on to the next question. So they've got one right. So I think that's a really nice way of using that feature as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I'm just going to bring Mark Allen into the stream, our last presenter of the day, who is going to talk to us all about Google Sites. I absolutely love Google Sites. I think the capability and the slickness of design that you can produce is absolutely fabulous. So Mark, are you ready for me to bring your screen in?
Yeah, ready to go, yeah.
Fantastic. That's good. Well, the stage is all yours. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, great. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Mark Allen and I am the principal teacher at Newton Farm Primary. And it's my job this morning, or this afternoon now I should say, to demonstrate how easy it is to create a professional looking website in just about 5 minutes. I thought it'd be appropriate for this example to do a sort of transition research task that primary 7s that are going into S1 could do using Google Sites. So if you want to start a Google site, the easiest way to do it is to do it through Google Drive. So to do that, you go to New, click on New, down to More, and then to Google Sites. And this will take you to the home page, and it will ask you when it loads to give yourself a title. It's taking a bit slower than normal to come up. While that's going, I'll just go to, I've got a sort of demonstration page because I can't be bothered typing things in this morning or this afternoon. Oh, and it's still loading. I knew you'd get this far in and you would have a problem at the end.
I lost my mouse there to bring myself back in. I was like, oh, I'm having problems too. But ooh. I'm sure it will get there with its loading. So you're saying there that you've been using sites about transition. What else are you using sites for while that loads?
Using sites for, we created a page for our school. We're doing a lot of training videos. I know some people have made websites, school websites using Google Sites as well. There's a lot of ideas that you could do, but I think it's up and running now.
Excellent.
And we'll just carry on. Hopefully we don't have any issues with the internet now. So I'm just going to put in the title here. Okay. Let's try it now. That's why I should have done the typing on it. So we'll just call it transition P7 to S1. Okay, and we're going to enter the site name as well. So I'm going to call that transition and UGS for Uddingston Grammar School because we are the feeder school for Uddingston. And I'm going to click return and it automatically changes the title of the document here. So we need to add an image now. So go to insert on the right hand side here. Then we go to Drive. And hopefully it will be a lot quicker than what it was a minute ago. My goodness, there really must be something up here wrong with the internet up where I live. Here we go. So from the Google Drive, when it loads up, I'm going to put in the logo here for Uddington Grammar. You just click on it and ask you to insert. So I'm going to click on insert and it will put it at the bottom of the page. And when it loads up, you can resize it and you can move it into the middle of the page as well. Okay, and we're also going to, underneath it, add a text box. So click insert, and then I'm going to click on the drop down menu heading, and we'll make it into the center of the page. Hopefully this works a lot better. Okay, I'm going to copy it now and going to paste it. There we go, looking a lot better now. So that's us got our first page of the website. I'm going to add a new page now, so I go to pages here. Then I go to the plus and I'm going to call this one High School. I'm going to click on done when it's ready. It will take you to a new page and it should automatically put that title on the next page, which it has, which is good. And it's working a lot faster now. So we're going to insert this time another image, but with text. And there's layouts in Google Sites that are there for you to put in. This time I'm going to go to the plus to add my image. Okay, it gives you lots of options there you can do. I'm going to go from the drive again. And I'm going to go into my folder when it loads. So you can save a lot of images that you find online into a folder. Okay, and I'm going to go for this image this time and click on insert. And I'm going to put in text again. So I'm going to go back to something I've done previously. Highlight the sentence. And then put it into the text. Center it, make it nice and neat again. And that's our second page. So I'm going to go to another page. This time, I'm going to call it location. Because it just doesn't need to be just images that you put in. If you go back to insert, and right at the bottom, lots of different things you can put in, docs and slides, but we're going to put in a map, and it will take you to Google Maps. Fingers crossed, there we go. And I'm just going to type in Uddington. Okay, and the grammar school. You could save your own maps in My Maps. And there we go. And I'm just going to click select, and it should put that into your website. For this example, in terms of transition, the pupils could write about how they're going to travel to the school, the directions that they would take from their house, are they going to take a bus journey, that type of thing. So they could add that, a text box underneath, and they could adapt that as much information as they wanted to. Okay, next page. This time we're going to go to add history. So we'll find about, they could research the history of the high school that they're going to. I'm going to go back to insert. I'm going to go to one of the templates again. Okay, this time, instead of getting an image from Drive, I'm actually going to select an image. And this means I can search for images online. I could go back to Google Drive if I wish to, but I'm going to go to the Google image search. I'm going to put in Uddingston again. Uddingston Grammar. And images that come up, as far as I'm aware, they don't have any copyright issues. That's why there's not a lot of images there.
Yeah,
click on this one.
Right, Mark. The images that appear are all the copyright-free ones, so people can feel free to use them in their documents.
And then we'll put in a little bit of history that I've prepared. Okay, and I'm going to change the text here to normal text so that it all looks the same. Okay, and then that's another page. And the final page that I wanted to show you, go back to pages again, then hit the plus, and I'm going to put in video clips this time. You can actually put in clips from YouTube. Okay, here we go. So again, back to insert. And then all the way down here, straight to YouTube. Again, I can search through all the searches of YouTube, but I'm just going to put in Uddingston Grammar. Oops. And the first video that comes up, okay, it's about Shinty. I love doing Shinty at Uddingston Grammar. Just going to click in there. And again, that's you got a video clip. Okay, so my example, just very quick number of pages, but you might want to expand this even more. Again, I talked about the journey of school, but the children could research the school staff, their favourite subjects, what they're looking forward to when they go to high school, things that they're worried about when they get there, the things that they would miss from primary school. They can even create a virtual tour of that as well. Okay, you can change the themes of it. So there's examples of preset themes that are already there. You can also view it in different modes here. Again, it's not giving me that option. I think it must be a problem with my internet. It's catching up now. Let's try that again. There we go. So the view that it gives you three options. You can watch from what it looked like on a computer, larger screen, or you could see what it looks like on a tablet. And you can also see what it looks like on a mobile. Okay, and the last thing that you have to do really is to go to publish it. And you go to the top right hand side of your page, go to publish. And it automatically gives you a web address from your title of who is able to access it. So go to manage. And you could share it with people just within your school, or you can manage it so that it's public. You can share it so it is only going to be certain people that are going to have access to it. And then we just click on done. Google Sites. I hope that's been really helpful for you.
Thank
you. And it's
very
back to Ian.
It's been really great to see how you're using Google Sites, and I think you did really well there, powering on even when the internet connection was being a little bit slow and a little bit sticky for you there. I think that's, really difficult to do. So, big well done for that. Just a comment there that Heather said that she really likes the idea of being able to use sites for primary 7 for S1 transition. I think that's a really good tool to use, a really nice use. So on Friday just past there, Craig Miller had shared some more kind of detailed use of Google Sites. So if people want to kind of learn more, I guess reach out to you on Twitter or maybe hop in and watch that video. So thanks very much for joining us, Mark. I'll pop you out and just bring in my screen just to say thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. Hopefully you found those sessions really useful. We've certainly gone on a little bit longer than I thought we were going to do, but everyone had really interesting ideas and work to share with us. Your feedback is so important, so we can help shape and look at how these live streams work in the future. So it's just a bit.ly and then stream 0505. So please get that filled in. My thanks again to all the presenters. They have done an absolutely fantastic job. First time presenting on YouTube, I expect, and first time kind of wrangling with technical issues and doing that type of stuff from home in an environment where you're not fully supported or maybe fully used and set up to working. So they did great. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll be able to do more of these sessions soon. Okay, bye for now. Thank you.